I'm gonna give us a minute here and see if anybody gets on. Sorry, I mean to stutter. Oh, I should have done a talk sooner. All this video that I've uploaded. I don't know if y'all noticed or not. I started this about a month ago. I think um, May 17th. Yeah, it was April 17th that I started uploading um, videos again actively to my channel. I hadn't really done anything with it in a couple of years. Um, so I think I had 58 um, videos when I started, and now I've got 294. A lot of them are short, um, but a lot of them aren't. and I got and I got more to come, and I've got more that I haven't gotten the archive off of Facebook yet. I still got more. I think I've got most of the stuff that I shot that I did with the werewolves. I may have some stuff on a laptop that um, never made it online. I haven't really looked through that stuff yet. But I've uploaded a bunch of stuff, and I probably should have talked about it sooner. So maybe let me go ahead and get started. And if anybody jumps in, I'll try to kind of go back. But I just want to go ahead and talk about. Yeah, I should have done. I should have done this a while back. Um, I should have done something in the middle of it. I uploaded a bunch of stuff. Well, let's go down to maybe back to Penhurst. Maybe Penhurst Asylum. That was an interesting investigation. I did that with the werewolves. That was 2018, maybe. I can't quite remember. Yeah, 2018. That was in 2018. That was an interesting investigation. That was actually just a public ghost hunt. Um, that was something we that was something we did with the werewolves. It was kind of fun. Was we would just go to public ghost hunts that you could go to or anybody could go to. But they weren't used to people like us showing up with a bunch of equipment and cameras and so it usually ended up being fun in most situations. And it happened with Crystal and I at Moundsville Prison, and that's one of the videos I uploaded too. Um, a lot of times I'd go to these events, especially if it was a public event, and we'd end up with people following us around by the end of it, because they were walking around in the dark and then something to scare them, and they'd be like, oh, well, no, let's go over with these guys. At least we had something going on. They weren't scared of us, and they figured one nobody go get them. Well, I don't know. I melted this woman down at St. Albans one time. She didn't want to get nowhere near me. But anyway, let's talk. So let's talk about Penhurst. That was one of the only investigations where um, we as a team, I don't believe there's any audio of that. There might be one little small piece where um, we were talking to Chris or something, but he was kind of doing EVP sessions and running the spirit box and doing that all off on these. And we had people following us around, so we were trying to not make a whole lot of noise, and we had gotten some disinvited voices and ended up having some EVPs and things that we did catch until I came back and listened to it. But anyway, we also that was where we met Ike, and you'll hear us talk about Ike in quite a few videos. And I don't know, I think Ike's a demon, but they seem to think he's a kid. Anyway, he doesn't seem to harm anything. He just kind of shows up. Well, he if he shows up in the investigation, it's kind he kind of messes it up because having a traveling ghost doesn't really help you establish whether some place is haunted or not. It's not fair bringing your own ghost. But anyway, he was fun. Anyway, the first time I remember actually identifying him was at Penhurst, and I think that's where we picked him up. He led us to a coloring book in the basement, and I played a game of hide and seek with him. That was fun. He'd come like to try. I'd go hide somewhere, and he'd come find me and light the K2 meter up. That was cool. And he eventually, he led us all over the place from building to building, and um, eventually led us to a coloring book at the bottom of the Mayflower building, I believe it was. He kept talking about his art, Ike with art, and then when we got down in the basement, where there was all this stuff like kid stuff, and there was some coloring books and stuff on the floor, and he said, uh, He said ape. I was like, ape. And I think somebody else was pointed out that the coloring book was there. It was a Curious George coloring book. And so, anyway, apparently that was like, sorry, I picked the coloring book up, looked in it, and it was all, part of it was colored in. And that seemed to be what he was focused on, what he had led us to. So that was an interesting experience. Um, oh, I had a viewer there and I lost him. Sorry. Anyway, that was Penhurst, and so anyway, so that was Penhurst Asylum. It was an interesting investigation. I definitely recommend watching it. It's a quieter one. It's basically just us talking. You can see a lot of the building, inside of the buildings and stuff. You'll notice when I point the camera at the floor. I don't know if you'll notice in some of the investigation. Well, there's not a whole lot of footage of me on my channel, um, of me, except for a few things where I set the camera down here and there, and then there's a couple of videos that I copied over from the Werewolf channel because I'm an admin there too, and almost all the videos on there I've edited together and put up there. So um, anyway, there's not a whole lot of footage of me on my channel. So I forgot where I was. I forgot where I was going. Oh, I remember. I'm not usually wearing. A lot of times I don't wear a headlamp. So when y'all see me point the camera at the floor, it's because I'm using the camera and what I'm seeing through the camera. That's how I'm getting around. I don't usually wear a headlamp because it kind of glares out in front of that, especially that little black and white camera that I carry. If I'm wearing a headlamp when I've got that camera on, it just kind of whites everything out. You can't see anything. So I don't usually have a headlamp on. But anyway, like I said, Penhurst was an interesting investigation. I definitely recommend watching it. Like I said, we ended up with a crowd of people following us around, and they were with us in the basement when we found the coloring book. So that was cool. It was neat. It was definitely a community experience, and that was kind of cool. If you can have that experience on a ghost hunt, you can't beat that. And everybody have the same experience and come away having a good evening. And I definitely think everybody had a good time that night. Um, so let's go on to the next one. Next one's a private home in Norfolk. Never have figured this place out. Got some really weird voices. Creepy stuff. This is what angels can do. Satan. Um, Spirit telling us he was trying to help out. But he was scaring everybody. So, stuff like that. Well, let's find a solution. Things like that. So that was an interesting one. The pictures are not of the house. And there's one little video clip where you can kind of see the lady that lived there, but they didn't really want to be identified. So, like I said, the picture that's on the thing is about the house, and then I think the picture of the fireplace that's on two different ones. I think that one's real. If I remember correctly, those are just photos I took on my camera and just used them as a background for the recorder clips. The ones that don't have video came off of a digital recorder. They're not videos. Um, I made them into videos. Let's see. Pennsylvania Turnpike, Stick Pile Tunnel. Not a lot of evidence, but cool as far as if you like urban exploration. And that's kind of what Bill and those guys are into more than anything. They're more urban X kind of people, but they happen to run into paranormal activity and they document it when they can, and they're interested in it. So, um, here, my computer's getting ready to turn off on me. So that was an interesting one. Like I said, not really heavy on evidence, but visually, kind of stimulating. I did that was shot with the full spectrum camera that I've got. There's a lot of graffiti and it's kind of mucky and eerie and just a cool, cool investigation. Like I said, not particularly a whole lot of evidence, but basically me just editing, showing my editing um, abilities. So, let's see what else we got. Shadow Man, Old South Pittsburgh, and I've got some video I'm getting ready to upload from Old South Pittsburgh. That's in Old South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And it's the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Um, they're home to the Lodge Cast Iron Company. They make pans. Um, so the reason I think Lodge actually put the hospital up or paid for building the hospital. The hospital's now abandoned. Right? They've got a newer hospital, but this hospital, I think originally was put up Like I said, the biggest business in the community was the frying pan Village cast iron company. But from what I know about making cast iron in those days, it was dangerous, and I think it probably still is dangerous. People get burned and stuff happens, and they get hurt, and so having the hospital close by was handy. But anyway, it's abandoned, and I had some really good experiences there. There's a spirit there they call it Shadow Man. I got his voice. I didn't see his shadow, but he talked to us quite a bit, and there's quite a few experiences with him. So, like I said, there's already a playlist for Old South Pittsburgh, and I've got I think three more videos that I'm going to be uploading from there. They're just clips. They're clips out of the longer videos that are on there, but these are actually are annotated, and that says what the voices said. And I've noticed that some of our spirit voices are getting picked up in the transcripts of the on YouTube. So that's interesting. If I'm catching evidence that's not somebody on the team talking and it's a ghost talking, and YouTube's adding it to the transcript, I mean that's kind of some validation there, I would say. Yeah. And I actually got a note about some of the language in one of the videos, and I do cuss, but then the spirits cuss me too, and that's even worse sometimes. And the particular instance I got um, a notification about um, wasn't me; it was a spirit voice that we picked up and he cussed me, um, and they flagged it, and I'm like, well, that wasn't a human, that was whatever I was talking to. So anyway, um, so that was Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Like I said, there's already a playlist for that. I keep losing my viewers. I wish somebody would stay here and talk to me. That's all right. Anyway, I just want to get through these, and I know people will come back and watch later and catch all of it. Let's see. Next is Moundsville Prison, and that's with Crystal. That's an interesting investigation. Crystal Sartan. And she is, I guess, technically still my ghost hunting partner. She moved to South Carolina though, and we didn't ghost hunt for a number of years. And now she's moved. I found that she's moved back here recently. So hopefully we'll be getting to do some investigations. And I've got some other people that I know that are wanting to do investigations too. So I'm gonna see what I can put together. Anyway, Moundsville Prison, interesting. It's in three clips, I believe. Um, yes, and probably the middle one, the last one of the three. Well, of all of them, really, the K2 stuff, I would disregard some of it. Some of it I wouldn't. I wasn't carrying my phone, so I wasn't setting the K2 off, and Crystal didn't have. Well, if you notice in the video, she didn't have hers out, so I don't think she was setting it off. So I'm not sure. The other fellow was with us might have it. He's usually kind of out of the way. Um, because the cell phones will set the K2s up if you're right on top of it. The signal will set them off. So some of it's probably good, some of it's probably not. I'm not sure. The voices that we got are definitely good. There's a couple of disapplied voices. I'll definitely watch that one. Um, the churches. Um, I don't know if I want to apologize for it or not, but it's what happened. The church is one of the places you can investigate, and we investigated it, and um, it kind of turned into a shit show. But the guy, but the guy was investigating. Came, it was a friend of Crystal's who came with us. He wanted to go on a ghost hunt and see what it was like, and I think we kind of scared him. We probably don't want to go on a ghost hunt anymore. Um, anyway, he wanted to pray, and when he prayed in the church, they got all aggravated with him, and I think called him names. And anyway, watch that one. It's interesting. Moundsville Prison. That's over in Moundsville, West Virginia. Um, let's see. After we got Moundsville, we got the Horsefly Chronicles house. That's up in Pennsylvania. There's a series of books. Different people have written about the Horsefly Chronicles. It's about a guy who has experienced a demonic, what do you call it, possession necessarily as an oppression. Um, he's not like he's not like possessed by this thing, but um, it kind of seems to want to get at him. I can empathize with that. Anyway, that's Horsefly Chronicles. Couple of clips of me and Crystal from there, and I probably got some more stuff from an event that they did there. Like I said, there's several books. I think Phil wrote a couple of books, and Phil Syracuse. Horsefly Chronicles, and there's I know other people have written books about it. There's other videos about it. And if you're interested in that, look it up. It's an interesting case. Um, let's see what's next. Well, some more St. Albans with Crystal. Couple of more clips. Yeah, me and Crystal at St. Albans always check those out. Crystal's a good investigator. She seems to get a lot of really spot on responses, especially out of the spirit box. And sometimes you get junk out of that stuff. She's really good at getting um, direct responses. So check those two out. Um, oh, the Hell House. The Hell House is this dilapidated old house along the C&O Canal Trail that Bill found. They took me out there and showed it to me, and we went back and did an investigation. It was interesting, very haunted, very scary, very creepy. Um, uh, I think maybe people have done like devil worship and stuff there. I think maybe something bad happened there. Um, Somebody had said something at one point about there possibly being a murder, and I don't know if that was from evidence that they got or something they looked up, or. But anyway, not a good place. You know, pentagrams on the wall, 666, and just not good. Not not a good place. It's not going to be there much longer. So, but anyway, very haunted. Haunted enough that we went back to two more times. So there's three. There's actually three investigations of it. There's the first one, um, which was done probably 2016, 2017 or so. Um, and then there's another one that we tried to do a live stream. My camera kept cutting out. So when you watch that one, it's in two parts. The first part is what we were able to get on the live stream. We kept losing signal and couldn't stay connected. And then if you watch the other part of it, it's after we went upstairs. It's everything that happened after we went upstairs until we left. So that was really interesting too. Let's go to another clip. St. Albans on, let's see, this was on the second floor, I believe, down one of the wards. Me and Melinda Covey and Jimmy Webb, and they were from NRV Paranormal. That was their group. They were from down near the Radford area. They were very familiar with St. Albans, and I investigated there a number of times with them. So this one is like 30 minutes long. It's an interesting clip. It's a lot of REM pod stuff. We run the spirit box. They say mean stuff to Melinda. I don't know why. She hadn't said anything mean to them. They were being mean to her. I'm used to stuff being mean to me, but I say messed up stuff sometimes. I don't necessarily intend to provoke people. I'm stream of consciousness. When I get in there, whatever pops into my head is what comes out. So, and that's the same with what I think I heard. Sometimes I mishear things and get off on a tangent. And it's the wrong thing, and I look stupid. Sometimes I'm right if I catch what they said and they actually answered me. Um, Sometimes it goes pretty well. Anyway, like I said, that was another clip from St. Albans with NRV Paranormal. In this case, we were also there. We were sharing the building with Black Raven Paranormal, and we would switch floors and move around. So that was a cool investigation. We didn't actually work with Black Raven on that one, but it got us the building for just whatever part of the building we're in. It was just the three of us, so that was nice. I didn't have a whole lot of contamination that way. And then a couple people that worked at St. Albans kind of sat in with us on a couple of them. So what else we got? Oh my. New River Gorge. That's down. That's me and the werewolves. Actually, you'd think it would be NRV Paranormal. Well, it wasn't. It was it was me and the werewolves. Um, Old abandoned. What we found out was I don't know if hospital would be the right word, medical clinic. Anyway, they said, doctors and nurses, so let's call it a hospital. I put it in the hospital folder because I didn't have nowhere else to put it. Interesting investigation. One of my more pleasant ones. You can see I don't always get cuffed. Sometimes they're very polite to me and they call me sir. And this was a good one. Basically, two spirits that sound like we talked to a male and a female. Um, Probably worked at the hospital. You would expect doctors and nurses to be nice, so that's probably why the investigation went well. And then the next house was the crappiest house I've ever been in my life, and I did not want to go in there, and I didn't like it. And it got weird, and I was like, "Screw this! I'm not doing it," and I left. So that one's cool too. That was called. Yeah, it says the haunted house was too much even for me. So yeah, check that one out. It's an interesting house visually. Another one of these creepy old This one's in the New River Gorge. Probably in there no more. I think the last residents are out of there. I think it's all national park now. So anything that's there now is will fall down. They're not gonna fix it up. And this thing they probably bulldozed it. It was nasty. Let's see what else next. Oh, Pandemonium Cemetery. That's up in Pennsylvania. That's a town where pretty much everybody that ever lived there is buried in a graveyard, and it doesn't sound like too many people made it out. Weird place. Anyway, another clip from that. This has not been on YouTube at all on the Werewolves channel, or mine, or on the Werewolves Facebook page. It's only been on my personal page, so only my friends have seen this one. So this is part of the Pandemonium investigation. So check that one out. Wow, I got a lot of video to talk about. Paw Paw Tunnel with Para Ann and the Werewolves. That was interesting. Creepy piano, something's lighting it up. Disembodied voice at the end of it. Strange response. Didn't really exactly catch what he said. You know, like, he didn't say he was doing the best he could. It was like, you know, like he was doing, like he was dealing with what he, dealing with the best he could or something. Anyway, listen to it and see what you think it says. If you can tell what it says, it's right at the very end, and I repeated it a couple of times so you can hear it. If you can tell what it says, write in the comments. I'd like to know. I'm pretty sure I know what it says, but you know, paranoia, maybe, I don't know. It's a voice. It's not one of us. That's one thing I beat into these guys' heads. They're going to talk loud. I don't want no whispering. If you're going to say something, say it out loud so everybody can hear it. That way, I'm not thinking it's something. It's a disembodied voice or something. If you're going to talk in my investigations, I expect. So I guess I'm a tyrant when it comes to investigations. If you're going to talk, you talk loud. That way, I don't have to sit and pick what's what. So maybe that's why people don't like investigating with me. That's why I talk loud. If you notice my early investigations, I was much more soft spoken. But I realize when you're going through evidence, you want your voice to stand out over everything else. You don't want there to be any question about whether something you said. And like I said, I urge that in the people who investigate with me also. If you're going to talk out loud. So enough on that. Sorry. Roby Cemetery. There's actually one investigation I just put on. This is actually the first one. I already had the second one on my. Well, actually, I had it on here first, but they originally were on Facebook, so they were a smaller size. They were actually made for. I basically just made them so they'd work on the phone. YouTube. Anyway, this. Are you having trouble connecting? Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. I just decided to do it. I realized I'd put all this video up. No, don't be sorry. It's okay. I realized that I should have done this like in the middle of the week. Well, I don't even know about the middle of the week. I don't know when like I said, it was a month ago that I started uploading all these videos. And I was responding to your last comment. Oh, okay, yeah. Fuck YouTube. Anyway, yeah, because they don't. I don't. It doesn't seem like people get the notifications even if they got them turned on. Because I've got them turned on my personal account just to check and see, and I don't get them. Or I'll go and look, and it'll be like, or I'll get it like a half hour later. I think they do it to kind of. I don't know. I don't know why they do it. I don't have an explanation for it. But anyway, the Roby Cemetery was actually might have already been on here, but I had some videos that were originally done for Facebook that were a smaller aspect ratio. So I've redone some of them for YouTube. Some of them I haven't. It just depends on whether how much I liked them. But and I want to get all my video on here, so I don't want my stuff all over the place. What's good, Chris? What you doing? Talk about all. I want to kind of go through and talk about all these videos that I uploaded, so if somebody wanted to, they could watch this and have some kind of context for some of these videos, because I realize that they're just kind of out of the blue. If you don't know what's going on or where they're from, or people might not necessarily realize what they are. So, like, the next set of videos is the bat shit cave. I say shit. There's 3 of those. That was a tunnel in Pennsylvania that I think was supposed to be a railroad tunnel that they started before the Civil War. But then something, I guess the Civil War happened, and they ended up not using it, and it got abandoned. So now, and the reason we call it Batshit Cave is because it's full of Batshit Cave. It's full of Batshit. But it's actually where they started tunneling out for a train tunnel and it abandoned it. I guess they realized they weren't going to get through this big piece of rock they were trying to hammer through. And then, so like I said, there's three of those. There's a paranormal investigation from, this is paranormal activity at the Paw Paw Tunnel. That's actually from the graves on top of the Paw Paw Tunnel. I've done a bunch of videos about the Paw Paw Tunnel, and in several instances of the, we got the mention of the name Jacob. Well, it turns out there's some three little kids buried on top of the tunnel, because there's land on top of the tunnel. The tunnel goes through a mountain, so up on top of the mountain, over top of the tunnel, are three children's graves, and one of the children's names is Jacob. And we got Jacob's name a bunch of times. I, I have to go. I've never really paid attention or really noticed that we caught any of the other kids' names. Like I said, there were three kids' names, and I don't think we even read the other kids' names off the graves. I think when he said Jacob, I just said, "Are you here, Jacob?" But anyway, this is the investigation where we actually went up and found Jacob's grave. We'd gotten his name a couple times, and then I think Bill did some research and found that there were some graves on top of the tunnel. And I don't know if he knew it or not, but then we went up there, and like I said, we found that the kid, one of the little kids that was buried up there, his name was Jacob. So I guess that's who. And so we did find him. He was the one that said, he said find me. And the night we were there, it was like really late, and I'm like, no, we're not coming to find you. But anyway, Bill set it up, and we went back and found where he was buried. So, and ever since then, we've not gotten his voice again. It was like once we found him, he was all good. He's like, okay, now you know my story and you can tell it. So that's something I want people to know, because there was a story about somebody got murdered up at the tunnel. It wasn't true, but people were going around telling people it was true and it wasn't. So the story that everybody needs to remember when they go to the Paw Paw Tunnel is that there's three little kids buried on top of the tunnel, and one of them's name is Jacob, and he's buried up there with his siblings. And then, so that's whose story needs to be told when they're over at the tunnel. If they wanted to talk about spirits, they can go talk to Jacob. I'm sure he'd love to come down and play with them. Um, I think the gravesite is actually on private property, so you can't visit the graves. But you can go visit the tunnel and talk to him. He'll come down. He'll come down, and there's little trails and paths and stuff. So go for a walk with him. He'll love it. Oh, what else we got? Oh, that doll that I got. I had this. I used to have this doll. I bought this doll as a prop for an investigation as a trigger item, and ended up it was haunted. So I ended up donating it to a museum, and so it's in West Virginia somewhere, probably boxed up. Um, anyway, this doll was haunted, so I did. So we were in Antietam battlefield, and there wasn't a whole lot going on. So I pulled this doll out, and we investigated it. So it's creepy, creepy doll. Anyway, pay attention to it. The first thing when you turn the first voice in the video says "Show us off, you asshole." That is a spirit. That is not me, and that is not anybody on the team. That's coming right out of the box. Yeah, I didn't know it was haunted when I bought it. Like I said, I bought it as a prop. Basically, I was going to use it in a I was going to take some photographs of it and use it in a video about a haunted place, basically. And I was going to leave it at St. Albans, and they didn't want it. So they made me take it. I was like, I'm going to leave it. And they're like, no, don't leave that thing here. Oh yeah, it was. I'm not going to say his name. I call him the beekeeper. The beekeeper. If you want to figure out which one of them's associated with bees, that's who. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, it was a demon. And the guy I gave him to did an investigation on him. That's what he got out of him too. So, I think it's probably boxed up somewhere. I'm not sure. I don't have it anymore. It's gone out of my life. So anyway, so that was a doll. Next is Haunted Trails in Gettysburg. I got way too many videos to talk about. Like I said, I should have done this a long time ago. Haunted Trails in Gettysburg is this place um, that I guess parts of it were on the. I guess it was part of the Gettysburg battlefield. There's a couple of graves there. People, I think there's a. And there's places where they were digging graves, but then ended up not using them. It's weird. Anyway, there's some soldiers buried there. I think there's possibly child's grave there from way back. Anyway, there's different graves on the property, and there's all these little trails that go through. It was an old, creepy old house, and people live there, do like haunted tours, and there's a basement you can investigate. Anyway, it's an interesting place. We had good, interesting experiences there, so that's kind of a cool investigation. This is none of these, but it was just us this time. There's none of these tourist kind of places that we showed up just kind of check it out and see what was there, what was going on. So like I said, that's haunted trails. Um, well, I'm not too bad off. I'm starting to get there. Let's see. Um, the Wayside Inn. That's an old one. That's like probably the second paranormal investigation I ever did. Um, and that's with Anita Clemmer. She's my boss and she's a friend of mine. So we rented. Well, we had the whole inn to ourselves, but we rented a suite, so we had two rooms, so we each had our own space. And but we were the only. It was middle of January and it was cold, and they're not really busy then. It's right after Christmas and right after New Year's, so. The weekend we were there, we were the only guests. So the lady gave us, opened up all the rooms and let us investigate the whole place. It was fun. It was cool. So check that one out. Kind of old school. Um, I'm still learning my camera work and still learning how to do an investigation and how to put things together. But anyway, it was an experience, and so it's one of my first experiences. So check it out. The next one is a house, private residence, and actually a house near here, near where I live now, and it's a place that I used to live. It's a private residence. I'm not going to identify where it was at, but this is a little weird. And this cottage probably isn't there anymore. I think the people that bought the property. There's a couple buildings on the property. One of them was this creepy old kind of cottage. It's probably definitely early 1800s, possibly 1700s, because it wasn't put together with nails. It was put together with wooden pegs. There were no nails in that building. It was all lumber that was tongue and grooved together and then put together with wooden pegs. So it's hard to tell how old it was. But anyway, just a quick little Sarita Shaw, um, Shadow Chasers, Chasing Shadows. I think her group is Chasing Shadows. She formed her own group. Um, had people to investigate with. I think it was CSI, Chasing Shadows Investigations. I guess she was trying to sound like a TV show. I don't know. Anyway, she was with that group. Anyway, she came out and investigated this cottage with me. And like I said, I don't think the cottage is there anymore. I think the people pushed it down. But it was haunted. um, so anyway, something turned the flash. She's just trying to get something to turn the flashlight. This is an old school one, and something turned the flashlight on. She said, "Thank you." And that's all there is to it. It's short. Um, and then a couple of clips from the Wayside Inn, a couple of spirit box clips. Um, a response. You could hear me. I was talking to a spirit, and he realized that his voice came out of the box, and he said, "You could hear me." I was like, "Yeah, man, I can hear you. Heard you clear." So that's a good one. It's here. And then there's a battle on the property. I guess maybe the building was used as a hospital. Anyway, the clip says they got me. Apparently, there's also um, the famed Irish Brigade from the Union Army fought in this battle. There's reported to be a soldier from the Irish Brigade is supposedly one of the spirits, and we think we got his voice too. But anyway, this one says they got me. They did get him. He's buried next door in the cemetery. Um, and then the last one is the Williamsport Town Hall. Oh, I forgot the Riverview Cemetery. Let me talk about those two together. So Riverview Cemetery and the Williamsport Town Hall. Those are both locations in Williamsport. We did a Halloween episode with the werewolves. Oh, I wish the chat thing would stay up there so I could see what you said. How do I get that back? Click on it. Live chat. Let me see if I can get that back. No, yeah, well, Satan, the devil, the big man's the big. I'm not gonna mess with him. He's the one that I. No, the other ones are kids. They're his kids. They're like the worst I've ever had any of them do is kick me. Um, and it reminded me of a little goat kicking me. Um, so I kind of mock them. I don't mock them Well, I'm not nice to him though. I mean, I don't like bow down to him or anything. But yeah, I'm not. I'm just like, nah, man, we're not doing it. You know, I'm just like, nah. But I don't let him treat me badly. I think there's a couple clips on there where I might have been talking to him. I'm just like, no, I don't let him talk badly to me. Um, you know, like I should expect the devil to give me some respect. Well, you know, he's an angel. Supposedly, there ought to be something to him. You know, if he was an angel at one point, then why be such a dickhead? That's what I keep asking him. But anyway, these are the last two investigations I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to probably go wrap up for the night. I've been talking for 35 minutes. 35 minutes. So these are the last two investigations I'm going to talk about tonight. I have more and more video. I've got 17 videos lined up to come online this week. Most of them fairly short. There's one really long one, an hour and 15 minutes, and that is a complete investigation from St. Albans with NRB Paranormal that nobody has seen but my friends. It's never been on YouTube. Well, one little clip of it. There's a 6-minute clip from a class that's a clip from that, but that's the only part of it that's actually been on YouTube or anywhere else. The rest of it's never been on. It's on my personal Facebook page, so only a few of my friends have seen it. Nobody else has seen it. So that's the same album. That's going to come on here this week. So I've got like 17, 18, 19 videos lined up to come on this week. And then I've still got more stuff to download. But anyway, these last two investigations, Williamsport, we did a Halloween episode. Apparently, the mayor of Williamsport was a ghost hunting fan, and it started following us on YouTube. And basically let us come and investigate different sites around town. Cemetery, town hall. There's a friend of his that was old house that was had some activity. Some old slave quarters. This is Maryland. But there were slave quarters. We investigated those. I don't have video of that sadly, but I do have the town hall and the cemetery. So those are what I put on here. I didn't run. I was running a live stream, so I didn't carry my camera the whole time. I carried the camera that we ran the live streams with, and those are over on the werewolves. Should be over on the werewolves page. I know they're on the werewolves. I think we live streamed on Facebook. So if you want to check out werewolves, WEREWOOFS, on Facebook, there's a bunch of video on there. There's probably way more video out there of me than there should be. So anyway, those are two Halloween episodes we did. They're kind of cool, and those are the last videos I'm going to talk about. And the stuff that's coming up, or like I said, some stuff from Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, just some clips that are marked as to what was said, and then I don't have a way to look at my drafts here. Anyway, I got some more videos coming. So anyway, I appreciate you tuning in, and I think that was all I got to talk about for now. I got to not upload too many videos and not talk about them because it takes me too long to get through them, and I don't have time to actually discuss each one. I was just trying to get through them all. If I just do them a few at a time and then talk, I should do that. But maybe I can give some more. If anybody's got any questions about any of these videos that I uploaded or wants to know something about one of the investigations, just leave me a comment. And anybody who's new, who's watching, please like and subscribe. And anybody who just subscribed recently, thank you guys. I think I've gotten like 300 new subscribers, so that's awesome. I was hoping to add a few. I think I'm over 1,400 now. I was trying to get to 1,500, and not that I need them for any particular reason. I just wanted to have a few more. Like I said, I think I've got a bunch of followers that speak Russian, and with the way things have been with Russia for the last few years, they might not even be able to watch me. So I think a lot of my I think they were legit subscribers. It was a bunch of like urban exploration people I had hooked up with over there. But I think with the situation between Russia and Ukraine, those guys have kind of gotten cut off from their access to the outside world. So I don't really know what they're doing. I haven't seen anything from them or seen their channel or seen any posts from them. So I'm not sure what happened to them. That's sad about it. They were young guys, so they probably got sent to the war. They probably did. I hate that. I would hate to think that. But that might be the case. Anyway, that's all for tonight. Happy Saturday night. Everybody rest good, and Monday's coming. Sunday's tomorrow, so try to rest. All right. Talk to you later.